Hi. Yeah, just give me a minute or two. Well, not a minute or two, a couple of seconds just to get organized. If you're on Facebook, I got to turn you off and then turn you on again. Meditation's coming. Okay. All good. How are you? You well? You well on this Monday? I hope you are. It's fine if you're not, but I hope you are. We're going to do some meditation. These meditations are part of the further emergence work that I do. If you're curious about that, I'll explain all about it when we're finished the meditation. This isn't a class, it's just a chance to meditate together. So if you're an experienced meditator, that's brilliant. Can you hang on though if you are, because on Mondays I like to explain what I do just for the benefit of people who are new to meditation. So I do these meditations on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday and Friday we just meditate, but on Mondays I do this little explanation. So there's lots of different styles of meditation. This is what I do. For me, it starts with why I would meditate. I'm trying to connect to a part of myself that I connect to every night when I sleep. Not the dreaming part of sleep, the bit after dreaming, So I'm sort of dreaming, and then I drop at the bottom of dreaming into deep dreamless sleep, where I have no thoughts, no memories, no feelings, no emotions, no nothing to speak of. I don't even have a bed or a body or nothing. I don't even have me, because I cease to exist, certainly in the way that I normally register my existence, which sounds awful, doesn't it? But the weird thing is that I love going to sleep. Don't worry about it at all. And when I wake up in the morning, I feel refreshed. So some part of me knows that that's a good place that I go to, and that's where I want to go to when I meditate. I just want to do it consciously. So straight away, if you're new to meditation, I'd encourage you not to do this lying down. Because if you lie down, the chances are you'll fall asleep, and if you don't fall asleep, you'll battle sleep. So both of those are kind of contrary to what we're trying to do here. So yeah, I encourage you to sit up. Now, you don't have to sit in a lotus position or anything like that, unless you're comfortable doing that, in which case far away. I'm just sitting in a chair. If you're going to sit in a chair, make sure it's not a big comfortable armchair that you will fall asleep in, because that's, again, you're into the whole sleep side of things. Now, as I said, there's no thoughts in this place. My mind just can't seem to get there. It's like this room that my mind can't get into, and it's just got to wait outside the door for. So I have to figure out something to do with my mind. I have to make a way to work with my mind. So what I do is I make an arrangement with my mind. I just say, could you just not think for the next 15 minutes, because I want to do some meditation. And at this stage, my mind is on board for it. It's like, yeah, okay, know the drill, fine. Having your mind on board is really important. It doesn't really happen that that's an issue the first time you meditate, the first once or twice that you meditate, because it's a new thing and your mind's like new things, so it'll be grand. It only becomes an issue if you're trying to meditate regularly. Then by the 10th time, the 20th time, your mind will be like, oh, this is so boring, I don't want to do this. In which case you have to figure out some way of getting your mind on board. If that's an issue for you, you can ask a question, and I might I'll be able to answer them at the other end if you're having trouble getting your mind on board. So mind is on board, good. Next thing, stop thinking. That's not that hard. It's not that hard to stop, because regardless of what I'm thinking about, which would be like the content of my thoughts, the structure of my thoughts is always the same. It's always pictures and sound. So if I turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound, then that's it. I'm not thinking anymore. So, and as soon as I do that, I'm into the practice of meditation. As soon as I stop thinking. Now, the practice of meditation runs parallel with the intention of meditation. So the intention of my meditation is, as I said, to go to this deep, still, calm, mindful, Zen-like, trying to think of all the other words that I use to describe meditation. You know, that place. The practice of meditation starts as soon as I stop thinking, and it generally goes, I'll turn off the pictures, I'll turn off the sound, so I'll bring myself to not thinking. Then a bit of time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again. I go, oh, I'm thinking again, right? Bring myself back to not thinking, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound. Then some more time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again. I go, oh, thinking again. So turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again, and so on, so on. So it's pretty simple. Every time you discover that you're thinking, you bring yourself back to not thinking. And it's important to know about thinking, and that thinking can happen in meditation. It's quite easy to get the misconception that if you think at all during meditation, you're doing it wrong, which isn't the case. As I say, it runs parallel with the intention. The two of them work together. They do a little sort of dance together. Sometimes you'll be very still and deep and in that, you know, beautiful place. And then other times you'll be discovering that you're thinking, and both are powerful, and they're both powerful in their own way. It's kind of obvious when you're in this deep, still, you know, your body relaxes, your nervous system starts to rebalance. It's all lovely. It's just as powerful when you discover that you're thinking. It's just not so obvious, because the power in that is, what'll happen is, if you're like me, the sort of things you think about are all to do with you, or me in my case. So I'll be going, what did I do that thing for? Why did I say that to that person? And why did that person say that to me? And so on and so forth, right? Now, if I'm in the middle of one of those thoughts, and I'm in the middle of meditation, and I go, oh, I'm thinking, right, fine, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Indirectly, what I'm saying to myself is, and demonstrating is, you know that thought that you just had, you know, the one that you thought was you and that you were it? Well, you just made it disappear. You just like, poof, gone. You made it go. So you're obviously not that thought. In fact, you're not any of your thoughts. You're something different. Now that's very powerful. And then the fact that you do that repeatedly is very powerful as well. So don't add to your thinking by thinking that you're doing it wrong. That's just another thought. And don't add to your feeling of, you know, that you're getting it wrong in some way, thinking, oh, I had to bring myself back from thinking a lot during that meditation. That wasn't as good as yesterday's. It doesn't work like that. The number of times that you bring yourself back from thinking varies from day to day and hour to hour. You know, you could meditate in the morning and you might only have to bring yourself back from thinking, you know, 2 or 3 times. And then you could meditate in the afternoon and you might have to bring yourself back loads of times, 100 times, 200 times. One is not better than the other. It's not the way it works. They're both as good as the other. And the only part of you that'll be having something to say about that is your mind. So that's just another thought to be turned off. Now, while all that not thinking stuff is going on, I'm also letting go of tension in my body. So I scan my body from my head down to my feet and back up again very slowly, very gently. Anywhere I find tension, I let it go. And I use my out breath to let the tension go. And I do that for 2 reasons. One is it's natural to just breathe it away. It feels very natural. And then the other thing is that it's a good way to remember to breathe, because it's quite easy to hold your breath in meditation or to stop breathing altogether. I know that sounds crazy, but it happens. So using the out breath is good to avoid that. Then the other thing I do is as I'm scanning my body, I spend a little bit more time on any structures that go transverse or go across my body. So I'll spend a little bit of time on my eyes, their transverse sight, my jaw, my tongue, base of my neck, my shoulder girdle, all my joints. They're all transverse sites as well. So elbows, shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers. My heart area, that's a transverse site. My respiratory diaphragm. All my intestines, my pelvic floor, my hips, my knees, my ankles, and my toes. All transverse sites. Because transverse sites operate a little bit like a log going across a stream. You know, it picks up all the branches and the twigs and anything that's coming down the stream. Except in my body, that's stress. Having a nice quiet room is really helpful when you're starting out in meditation, because one of the things that triggers thoughts is noise, and as soon as you close your eyes to meditate, your hearing is going to amplify. So the quieter the room, the best chance you'll be giving yourself to meditate, to not think. You're helping your mind out. And the other thing I do to help my mind out is I set a timer for how long I'm going to meditate for. So I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, but if you're new to meditation, I'd encourage you to set yours for shorter. Set it for like 5 minutes and then repeat that 3 times. Okay. Oh, the reason for that is 15 minutes is a long time if you're not used to it. Okay, off we go then. Oops, into the mystery. So if you feel like you've gone very deeply, you just take a bit of time to come back from wherever you are before you open your eyes, and do that. Or you might feel like you have, you can hold the inner space and the outer space at the same time, in which case you could just open your eyes. And when you do that, you might feel like you lose the inner space. Then you can close your eyes again, reconnect with it, open your eyes again, inner space, outer space, and so on. So as I said at the beginning, these meditations on Monday, Wednesday and Friday are part of the further emergence work I do. If you're curious about further emergence, it's to do with growth, inner growth, growth in consciousness, you could call it spiritual growth, growth in awareness, that kind of thing. Because your body stops growing when you become an adult, but you keep growing on the inside. That doesn't stop. You continue to grow for your whole life. And just like when you were a kid, you might have gone through periods of accelerated growth. They're called growth spurts. You go through growth spurts on the inside as well. You have inner growth spurts, and they continue for your whole life as well. The big difference is, though, when you were a kid and you went to your parents and said, "Oh, I've got pains in my shins," or wherever you had the pains, your parents wouldn't have rushed you to hospital. They wouldn't have brought you to a doctor. They would have just said, "Oh, look, that's terrible, but they're growing pains. They're natural. It's fine. They'll pass." It's much harder to know that when you're an adult and you're going through an inner growth spurt. It's much harder to know that it's a natural thing, that it will pass. There's a much bigger space to feel like you're broken in some way, there's something wrong with you. So further emergence is about support for growth, inner growth, and then specifically for those times of where things speed up on the inside, that growth speeds up for those inner growth spurts. So the meditations are helpful and a support, because the more familiar you are with your inner landscape, the easier it is to navigate those inner changes, those growth spurts I was talking about, the inner growth spurts. So meditation is a great foundation thing to do. We also have retreats. There's a retreat every second Saturday, so the next one is next Saturday, and they are long, 4 hours usually. We do pretty intense meditation, meaning longer. The meditations last up to about a half an hour each, and there's questions and answers and talking and sharing, and it's a chance to kind of say, oh, okay, I'm not the only person going through this. There are other people who are going through a similar thing. Because one of the ways that it's difficult about going through an inner growth spurt is that you can feel very isolated. You could feel like this, no one gets you. No one understands what's happening. So they're very helpful in that way as well. You can find out all about this stuff on the website, furtheremergence.com. I also work with people one-to-one. I can't see a huge amount of people. I see 8 people, no more than 8 people every week. And that's a combination of talking and then treatment, or not treatment, but kind of support. See, I was a craniosacral therapist for a long time, and it's one of the ways I use my craniosacral skills. So I think of it in terms of treatment, but it's not treatment. It's support. It's specific support, because the way that further emergence manifests in each person is really different. And I've been through it myself many times. I've helped lots of people through it as well. So I can give more specific kind of feedback in the one-to-one sessions. And then there is a period where we turn the cameras off and then I work behind the scenes and I use all my kind of craniosacral skills, but I work remotely in that way. So the one-to-one sessions are great. And then I've written books as well. I've written 4 books, all roughly around the subject of further emergence. Now, if you're still with me and you've watched all the way to the end, maybe some part of you is going, yeah, there's something to this. There's sort of a little bell being rung inside me. So I'd encourage you to just let that little bell, or that part of you, let you know what the next thing for you to do is. It might be just do some more of the meditations with me. It might be to watch some of the videos of the retreats, or listen to the podcast, which is the audio from the retreats. It might be to come to a retreat. It might be to get in touch for some one-to-one work, or read one of the books, or none. None of those things. That little voice might be going, yeah, that was nice, but no, this is not for me. In which case, that's great. But that part of you'll know what to do. Okay, so thanks very much for meditating with me, and see you on Wednesday for some more meditation. Bye.